What is up, everyone? This is the Hoof Live, the Hoof Podcast coming at you. And I guess right now, looks like it's just you and me, Eric. Anthony should be here at any second. Man, how you doing over there?
That's the thing with scientists. They just run late all the time. Trust me, I'm married to one. But that intro, though, that's pretty dope. That's got me hyped, man. It's like, it's gone way up. Like the needle of our introduction show has gone like through the roof.
It has gone up. And I can't take credit for that. No, Justice General over at the homie hooked it up. He hooked it up. Built in Buffalo. He's doing he's got like a lot of little side projects. So I hit him up. I was like, yo, bro, like, hey, we need a video. We need a video. And he was like super cool, man. I had one in a same day. Bang, done. Here you go. I was like, I got you. So yeah, I owe him.
Nice.
I kind of owe him a big one. I kind of owe him a big one. But today is a big day. Today is a very big day. Okay, this is folks graduating today. Got the final 53-man roster, right? We're gonna talk about that tonight. Booger McFarland said some shit that's hilarious. So we're definitely going to talk about that tonight. We're definitely going to get into that. But we do have we got some other pressing issues to kind of discuss and kind of go over to. However, before we do any of that stuff, we want to make sure that we go through and give some shout outs, shall we? Get a little shout out to him. Yeah. Who we got in here tonight? Who we got in here tonight? Cosmic Jerry. Whatever that is, whatever that means. I don't know. PJ Ty is in here. He says, hope Greg is on with you guys. No, Greg is not here. Greg is not on with us tonight. Matt Harmon says, what's up, Bills? Evening, Bills fam. What's good, my G? What is good? Hey, Gordon Arbor. That dude right there is funny. Gordon, I'm gonna need some material in there tonight. So I expect you to bring your thunder just as you expect me to bring the content. I'm going to need you to bring some in the comment section tonight. Wayne Clearly is in here. He says, what's up? First 53 practice tomorrow. Yep. And then Don is in here tonight. She says, hit that like. Thank you, Don. And thank you to everyone who decided to join us here tonight. Like I said, Anthony will be here. He will be back in a few minutes. He's getting off of work or whatever. But before we do any of that, Eric, let me ask you a question, bro. So, have you heard of Underdog Fantasy?
I have.
You have heard of Underdog Fantasy?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you've heard of them because they are one of the sponsors of our show. And did you know that when you sign up with Underdog Fantasy and you put in the promo code COVER1, they will match up to $25 on your first deposit. Just saying. So all of you guys out there, look, if you're going to do player prop parlays or, whatever you're going to do, you're trying to win some money on these weekend games, all I'm saying is, look, you gotta do the Underdog Fantasy because that's where it's at.
Are you wearing an Underdog Fantasy shirt right now?
It looks like it does.
Like the brand colors.
You talking about me?
Yeah.
You got it going on there.
Yeah.
Look, ready for the season 2. Look. All you need is the cape, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Look, first of all, okay, when you address me, first of all, I'm a handsome milk chocolate man here. You know what I'm saying? I'm a middle-aged Denzel now, right? But this is the University of Michigan jersey right here. You never see me wear jerseys. Y'all know I don't rock jerseys too much, but this week they play Western Michigan. It's their season opener this week.
Yeah.
So, I thought look.
Way to represent.
We might not get many wins on the field this year, but we're gonna get a W tonight. So I'm rocking my guys. I'm rocking my guys tonight, right? So
Richard, I get that a lot, Richard. That's the Hoof's Tony Stark has arrived.
Yes.
I've actually done that for Halloween a few times, and it's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Are you sure not the Hoof's Chris Brown or the Hoof's Hamilton?
Sure, those work.
Yeah, that's right.
Alexander Hamilton is the man. Hey, I watched that. I watched it.
I haven't
it's
seen
good.
It.
You should watch it. I mean, it's not like
Damn
a musical that you think like musicals, like, oh my God. I mean, they do sing all the time, but it's a musical, but it's really good. Like, you should watch it, E.
I wish I got his money for it.
I mean, don't we all? Don't we all? All right, so shall we do this? It's good to see you, Anthony. I know you were you're moving. How's that going?
It's going smoothly. We signed the official paperwork tomorrow, but we're in the new house already, so it's going okay. It's a lot of hours of unpacking, as anybody who moves knows. It just sucks, but having our own house now, this is our first home buy, is different. It feels different. It's like, oh man, this is our place.
Some maintenance.
We don't have to. Yeah, right. It's all my responsibility now, so it's kind of bigger. Got to mow the lawn, got to paint the house or whatever it is. Keep the maintenance up, but it feels good. It does. I'm excited for it. We both are. It's good for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey,
it's a big
listen. Did y'all hear about this Bishop Sycamore stuff? Have y'all heard about this?
I saw a post about it.
Yeah,
but
I saw Cam Newton just joined them.
He got signed by Bishop Sycamore.
NFL memes. I saw that earlier.
Look, apparently there's this fictitious school called Bishop Sycamore. So first of all, like, I'm going to applaud you for coming up with that name, okay? Because that's like, that's like official, like, prep school, like Bishop Sycamore. Like, okay, like, I mean, these cats straight finessed ESPN, which I'm kind of happy they did. They have
Bobby Hart joining BS.
Yes. They have no Ohio high school football association license. If you go find their schedule, they got games at like 3 a.m. in the morning. No, I ain't lying, bro. Like, they're saying they got games late, okay? Apparently, though, they got a head coach that's got a warrant for his arrest. They got players on the team that are in their 20s. Like, they said one guy I interviewed like weeks ago. Yeah. They asked my guy how old he was. Yeah, they asked my guy, hey, how old are you? This dude said 23.
23.
Oh my God. They got one dude.
It's not even eligible in college, for God's sake.
You see him coming out the tunnel. They got cats praying, like Tebow, like praying. Like, man, look, y'all wilded, man.
Sounds like a Netflix show.
And then look, you finesse so hard. You get on ESPN, bro, and you lose on prime time, 58-0. It just don't get better than this. Look, I'm not even mad at Bishop. I'm actually happy that these kids got to play some meaningful football. And look, in ESPN
now.
Look, kids, they're 23. You said.
Yeah. And in ESPN, okay, the overall leader of sports entertainment doesn't do their research and check up on these cats, and you endorse them and put them on national television, and you didn't check on these dudes. Man, and it said, look. They also said they had like top Division I talent. So, like, if I were to come to you and be like, "Yo, my school, we got top Division I talent," you're gonna ask me what? Who are these kids? What are they ranked? By what services? Are they 247 Sports? Or is it ESPN?
Yeah, well, what schools are they signed up with? Like,
I don't know.
Top Division I talent mean? It means they're going to be playing for a Division I school, right?
Yeah,
right.
And nobody got an offer on there.
You have to watch. You have to watch the highlights from the game. All right, I'll try and look this up now. I did not think this was a serious thing,
Yeah. Look, so we'll see. This is just hilarious. So I'm not even mad at Bishop. I salute you for finessing ESPN. They deserve to be finessed, if you ask me. They just do. So anyway, but we're not here to talk about Bishop Sycamore, but it is a funny story. If you haven't checked it out, you definitely need to go check up on Bishop Sycamore. All right. But we got an interesting show for you guys tonight. Just so you know, you are watching the Hoof Live on the Cover One Network. Y'all know what we do around here. We got shows lined up all week. All our guys are legit. We give you the best film analysis out there. and we have a mosh posh of gentlemen that work hard to provide content. So this football season, you're going to want to tune in to the Cover One Network. You're going to definitely want to keep it tuned in here to the Hoof Pod. We got some major stuff going on as we go segue into the season. We're going to be giving away jerseys, etc. But are you guys ready to do this?
Let's
Always
go,
ready.
baby.
All right, so
it was a fun day.
It is a fun day. All right, so for those of you who are new to the Hoof Live, we kind of do things a little bit differently around here. We have we start off with a few segments. I come up with the topics. My guys, they don't get to see it, so we kind of just riff and talk about what's the latest and the greatest was going on and so forth. So the first topic of the night, before we get into that, the very first topic of the night, and it is what's popping. This is where we go around the NFL, talk the latest and the greatest of news around the league. And first up, Cam Newton. Cam Newton got released, and so did John Brown. We're going to start with Cam Newton, though. Eric, I'm going to let you take this one. Anthony, I'm going to let you mop up on the Cam Newton, and I'll hit up John Brown.
Well, Cam Newton was, this just doesn't surprise me a lot. When they signed him to a 1-year, $8 million contract for a starting quarterback, like that's just destined to fail. Whether it's a prove-it deal or whatever, I mean, I think in today's NFL, you should be making a minimum of $20 million. But Cam Newton just didn't play well in that system. I don't think it was a good fit to begin with the personality versus the ultimate system guy, right, and Bill Belichick as a coach. I mean, I thought I would see more like design runs with Cam Newton, with Josh McDaniels, at the helm, but we just didn't see a lot of it. The execution was poor. I really felt like the Patriots were so used to having Tom Brady on the roster that they designed games to give the quarterback the ball in the last few minutes. And Cam Newton just doesn't have that clutch gene to get it done like Tom Brady. And nobody else in the world has that. So I thought it was a bad fit to begin with. I am a little surprised that they're going to roll with Mac Jones this early.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it is what it is at this point. Maybe Cam's just a distraction there. I know there was a COVID issue as well. I kind of missed a lot of that. But.
Okay.
I think it's so funny to think about 1 year ago today where we were at, right? Not the Buffalo Bills, but the NFL, right? All those talking heads. Oh, Bill Belichick is going to save Cam Newton's career. They're going to win the Super Bowl because it's Bill Belichick and Cam Newton is a superstar and he won an MVP once. So he's going to be a super. He sucked. All right. Dude, look, I love Cam Newton's personality. He's fun. I love his style. Hey, look at me. I would wear Cam Newton's clothes. So, I mean, I like the guy personally, but the fact of the matter is he sucked last year on the field. He could not bounce back from his injury. He never returned to his MVP form. And all those talking heads look fucking stupid for saying, oh, the Patriots are going to win everything last year. And I called him out for it then and gave him hell at the end when I was right and they were dead wrong. And what did they say? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, right? They just totally ignore it. So what do? They wait. Oh, Cam Newton's not on the team anymore. We'll see what the Patriots are going to do at quarterback. And then, oh my God, they re-signed Cam Newton. And then it was again, oh, Cam Newton's going to save this team because he didn't get the chance last year. It was all COVID and all this other stuff that he didn't have the team behind him. Now he's got weapons. We want to see what Cam Newton can do in this offense. And like Eric said, I was sitting here like, this doesn't make any sense to me. This offense that Cam Newton runs, it's not what they do. They're like a check down, do a short pass game, rely on the run. He can't be dynamic in that offense. So it was never a good match for him. He was never able to return back to his form due to injury, which is really unfortunate for him. I sincerely feel bad about that, no matter what team he's on. But I think his career in the NFL has to be done at this point. Nobody else is going to take that risk unless he wants to sit on the bench as a backup and hope that something happens to get him in a game again. But I'm just sick of the talking heads. And now even today, oh, Cam Newton's cut. Oh, Bill Belichick's a genius because he's rolling with Mac Jones in week 1 and they're going to win the division. It's like, what is wrong with you people? They're rolling out a rookie quarterback who, is not like the second coming of Jesus Christ. He's barely the most highly debated quarterback from this draft. Like, is he good enough to be in the top 5 or not? No, because he was.
He only has 1 year of college football experience as a starter. But he does look sharp, though. You can't ignore that. I mean, he fits the system better than
Yes.
Cam Newton already.
Yes, agree there.
Maybe because he, just does whatever they tell him to do, and he doesn't think outside the box at all because he's so new. But I think the Patriots ones are going against twos, on the opposite side of the field. So, he looks a lot more like Tom Brady than Cam Newton does, is all my point. The same system. I recognize a lot of those plays that, Tom Brady used to run all the time. Yes. It's just now you're seeing more of the system versus more of the less
get the ball
creativity.
out quick and short, right? That's what they do, quick and short. And then run the ball mainly, right? And that's their offensive style, and they have.
The mistakes are coming. They're coming.
Oh, for sure.
And a rookie at quarterback, and they still think he's.
I'm okay. Honestly, I'm okay with them starting Mac Jones. Not that it's my decision anyway, but from outside looking in, if he's your future, you did invest the first round draft pick in him. Start him. We knew coming out of Alabama that he had the acumen, the mindset, to where he could process, a Bill Belichick, New England Patriots offense, right? It's not hard to see. I'm pretty sure I even was like way before the pre-draft. I was like, Mac Jones looks like a New England Patriot. Like he looks like he's going to get drafted by the Patriots, and he did. So,
out of shape cool quarterback, it fits.
I'm cool with the move. I feel bad for Cam Newton. We all know Cam. He hasn't been the same, man. Injuries kind of derailed him. He played a very physical brand of football, even as a quarterback. So his time was coming, and sometimes Father Time it shows up and looks ugly for all of us in our athletic careers in life or whatever. So I hope Cam finds a place where he can go and play, be a backup or whatever. I still think he'd be a great backup quarterback. He's just not his time is kind of past him. So I'm not even tripping. But John Brown, can we talk about John Brown now?
Yeah.
Look, John Brown was signed by the Raiders, let go by the Bills, signed by the Raiders. And I initially thought, okay, that's a really good move. I never would have thought that John Brown would be cut from the Vegas Raiders. Now, I didn't really pay attention to John Brown in the preseason, but I did hear last night, reports are starting to come out, rumors are coming out that there's a good chance that John Brown might be on the chopping block, that he's being outplayed by a guy that's undrafted or something like that. And I go, okay, like I watch enough film to know what John Brown brings to a wide receiver room. And I'm just scratching my head as to, well, why is he getting released? But they said he just hasn't performed in the preseason. He just hasn't looked that good. So little interesting to me, but I hope, there is no way John Brown comes to the Bills. I just don't think, unless major injuries happen, which we're not hoping, but I think the Bills are set at wide receiver, although you can never have too many weapons. But I think
there's a big clarification to make here that he asked to be released by the team. And we don't know what that means. Maybe he knew that they were like, hey, you're going to be our sixth wide receiver. We're going to keep you, but you're not going to play. And he was just like, look, if that's going to be the case, release me. Or if they were already talking about release him and he put out the press that, he asked to be released and they agreed to say that just to make it, be nice to a veteran, I guess. But it was kind of a shocking move. You thought he had potential to be their number 2 guy there. Yeah. It depends on what you consider. Ruggs a slot receiver or speedy number 2, I guess, but interesting move by them and not looking good for John Brown and his career trajectory, like you said, being cut by the Bills, getting signed, and then being cut before he could ever play with another team. So we'll see where he ends up. He could get signed. I feel like he's going to now be that veteran that's going to be out there when somebody does have a reliable number 2 that goes down. And you're like, oh, crap, who's going to fill that spot? Oh, John Brown's out there. Let's sign him and get him in. And I think at this point in his career, John Brown's probably okay waiting it out and waiting for that right situation rather than going to another team where they're not going to win or he's just going to get cut or, not going to help his own image and career.
Right. And it's a very expensive training camp for the Raiders because he just signed a $3 million deal, and then I think he earned most of that now after being cut. Greg had a tweet earlier that was, hats off to John Brown for, showing up for an offseason and getting paid. Well played, sir.
Yeah. You talk about, you could put him in the realm of Bishop Sycamore as finessing folks.
Yeah. No, but John Brown, he'll get signed somewhere. I feel like he can come into a team, play on the outside, just have that limited role with a lot of teams. I think a lot of teams need help on the outside.
I think there's a place for him on someone's roster. And who's to say, I mean, honestly, that it's not in Buffalo. I don't know. I mean, people like the rapport with Josh Allen is really good. I mean, he had his best year with Josh Allen and the Bills, but I just don't see where you peg him in. Like I said, if there's an injury or so forth. So, but it's something to be seen. But that was one of the interesting cuts that I saw today from free agency. Here we go. AFC's quarterbacks. We got Mac Jones, Tua T, Zach Wilson, Josh Allen, all under 25 years old. And I put that up there because that's really young. That is a really young division of quarterbacks. And the only one that's proven is Josh Allen. That's it. And you can't fault. Well, let me take that back. The Jets, okay? The Jets, I got it. Zach Wilson looks legit. I hope he pans out. But then you go to the Dolphins and you go Tua. We hear, that he's been playing better, so forth. But then the whole Deshaun Watson rumors start to come out this week. So I'm going to get your guys' opinion on that. That has to hurt his psyche. And Brian Flores was kind of not committal. He can't, in my opinion, he gave a little lukewarm response when asked about the quarterback situation. So I don't know if there's any real merit. I know verified people and reporters close to the Dolphins have said that they are kicking the tires on the Deshaun Watson thing. And if I am Tua, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little hurt in the sense that, these people still don't believe in me, which plays well for the Bills and for the Jets and whoever they're facing. But man, what are you guys' thoughts on the whole young quarterback division? And then on top of that, when we talk about the Dolphins, the rumors surrounding Deshaun Watson and what the compensation was. And if you guys didn't know, I'll let you continue after this. It was 3 firsts and 2 seconds is what was reported or rumored to be going for Deshaun Watson to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. And I know the rumors kind of heated up because the Texans were due to pay Deshaun Watson $10 million if he made it to the active roster, the 53. And a lot of people thought he'd be traded before that, but it looks like he's actually going to sit the bench and earn that money. So they saw tons of rumors, but I don't think it's healthy for the Dolphins. I mean, they're a good team, right? They were 10-6 last year. They should have been a playoff team. And really the quarterback was maybe holding them back. I mean, look, let's face it. If Fitzpatrick started in place of Tua throughout the season, I'd say they win 11 games.
Yeah.
Instead of 10. But now with the Deshaun Watson rumors, and Tua's still unproven, right? The last game he played was against the Bills. It wasn't a very good game for him. So I say it splits a locker room. Because half the team goes, yeah, we want Deshaun Watson. This is good news. Half the team goes, we're committed to Tua. It's just they work with him every day. Maybe they like him. I mean, it's just not healthy at all. And you can start splitting teams like that. Now the coach has to answer for it. It's just whoever's leaking that information, it's not healthy for the team. As far as the other quarterbacks go, before we get to Brian, my favorite quarterback outside of Josh Allen is Zach Wilson. I think he's going to be the best quarterback of this group.
I love it too. Yeah.
I mean, his talent jumps off the screen. We watched Sam Darnold for a number of years, and you saw some talent, but it wasn't like jaw dropping. It was more the quick release was good. He could move around, get rid of the ball fast. But Zach Wilson has real NFL arm talent. Yes. And I think he'll be. Hold on,
Anthony.
Yeah, let's put up Brian. Yeah.
So he goes. What's good, my guys? It's time we get this winning season started. Let's go. So Brian Bowers is a good friend of the show, man. We've had him on. That's the homie. And congrats to your girl, Brian. I know she was doing some. I don't know if you call it bodybuilding, a competition or whatever she won or whatever. So congrats. If you guys haven't followed Brian on Twitter, make sure you go ahead and do that and congratulate him and his girl. They're doing big things out there. But Brian, thank you for watching the show, man. We appreciate you. Anthony, you're up.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with Eric when it comes to the quarterbacks. I mean, first of all, this is great for the Buffalo Bills. You've now got your developed quarterback. Not only have you had him for 3 years, he's developed so much that he's a superstar in this league, and he's got no competition at the position in the division, without a doubt. And there's no talking head who can make that claim at this point, because the other three, as you said, are completely unproven. So I agree that Zach Wilson is my favorite of those quarterbacks, and the fact that he will eventually be a star, but that team is still developing. So he's not a threat right now. And when it comes to fantasy, I know we're not a fantasy show, but Zach Wilson, you got to remember, garbage time is still time. I expect him to put up some good numbers in garbage time with the Jets. You know, it might be a few interceptions and they're not going to win games, but it's still going to come down. You know, he's going to be shooting the ball a lot. And that's going to be important versus like a Mac Jones, who, even if they're down by a lot, I don't see him, you know, them relying on the offense to go through him in any way, shape, or form at this year anyway, until he's more developed. So the fact that the other teams in this division are behind us, the Miami Dolphins are the most perplexing, as you said. They are always in the front of the Deshaun Watson conversation because, yes, Tua has his limitations, but mainly because they're the only team in the NFL with all of the stuff that Houston is asking for in a trade. Oh, you want 3 first-round picks? We got that in our back pocket. We got that next year. You know, here, have them. If that's what it takes to get Deshaun Watson. And in terms of splitting the locker room, yeah, you might have guys who are loyal to or who like Tua, but you can't tell me that a damn one of them is going to look themselves in the mirror and say, I want Tua to be my quarterback more than I want Deshaun Watson. For football reasons, at least. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, with all the off the field stuff and all these scandals and things, I don't ever want that guy to be my teammate. But when it comes to football, there's no player who's going to look themselves in the mirror and say, I back Tua over Deshaun Watson, a proven top 5 quarterback every year he's been in the league. So, I mean, it's a tough situation to be in. And we don't know what the rumors are in the locker room or what the feel is in the locker room. But it certainly can't be good for that team to even be doubting. And if they start losing games at you know, whether it's Tua's fault or not, it's going to only stir up that conversation and divide that locker room more.
For sure,
Which is why I'm not high on the Dolphins coming in.
So I wanted to bring this comment up. And Jessica Tennis, thank you for watching the show and contributing. She says Belichick's going to have fun with Wilson. That was one of the first things that I actually thought of, but not from a Bill Belichick standpoint, from a Sean McDermott standpoint, having these young quarterbacks in the division, rookies especially. You know, Sean McDermott and Bill Belichick really have really high success against rookie quarterbacks. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be really tough in this division. Think about if you're the Jets, you're playing the Patriots, who have really good defense, the Bills who have really good defense, and the Dolphins have a really good defense. It's going to be really tough. But in the same sense, if Zach Wilson can embrace the growth mindset that we talk about, that you hear the Bills talk about, it could bode well for him that because he's going to see some looks and some complicated schemes and pressures that he ain't seen yet. And so we're going to see what he's made of. It can make him or break him, is one of those things. So I'm excited about the young core of quarterbacks in the AFC East. We'll see what Tua becomes. I mean, I think I understand the idea of wanting Deshaun Watson. I do get it. Regardless of what's going on in his personal life, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about him as a football player. I mean, if I'm a player, I want the better guy, right? I mean, that's just innate. You want the better guy. So, and Deshaun Watson is a damn good quarterback. So I don't know what's going to happen. And we've been hearing about Deshaun Watson rumors since November, December. So it'll be interesting to see how all that kind of plays out. But kudos to the AFCs, man. We got some young quarterbacks in the fold, and we're going to see how they develop. I know they're not going to have a Josh Allen leap.
Yeah, we got new quarterbacks coming at you every 3 years.
Let's hope so, right?
Hey, it used to be the Bills drafting quarterbacks. Not drafting quarterbacks, but having quarterbacks
quarterback every season.
Yeah. So real quick, listen, I need some more likes. Okay, like listen, this is just ain't enough in here. There's a lot of y'all watching, but I only see a few amount of likes. So if you're watching us tonight live, man, hit the like button. That's all I'm saying. Hit the like button. I'm gonna leave it at that. Bills Packers recap. So I wanted to talk about this because I mean, I know it was the third preseason game. I know you guys had ideas that like you didn't want to see Josh Allen or not any extended amount of time. Sean McDermott comes out and says, okay, Josh Allen is going to start the game. And I was like, yeah, he needs to. I mean, I want to see something. I didn't expect him to play the first half. I was good with a series or two, but
kind of dragged out a little.
Mr. Josh Allen was 20 of 26, 194 yards and 2 touchdowns. It looked really, really good. So if you had any questions about can he carry over the success that he had last year? I mean, we saw Josh throw with anticipation, looked at multiple reads. This is the same stuff that we saw him do last year, just carried over. I mean, we even saw him scramble and just chuck one like a little floater to Cole Beasley on the left-hand side. I mean, just beautiful stuff. And I'm not even talking about the touchdown pass to Gabriel Davis on a rope. That thing, I think they clocked that thing at like 58 miles an hour, 39 yards.
Crazy.
And I mean, on a rope. I mean, that was just incredible. Like, you watch that and you go, damn. You know what I'm saying? So what was your guys' reaction of Josh Allen Saturday against the Packers?
I mean, he was in control of everything. Everything. I mean, it was just, even when he had an incompletion or threw the ball away, you could tell he was just like, meh. Like, okay, we'll get it on the next one. The screen passes, there was a couple of screen passes that were, again, I thought like it was basically him saying, I think I want to practice this. Oh, there's Singletary. Let me get him the ball. Let me just see if I can throw this 35 yards on a dime down the line. Oh, you know what? I got to stretch my legs a little and do this run play, but I'm going to go out of bounds. And I do want a guy to at least get in my face. Let me just get touched by this guy as I throw the ball. He was in control the whole game. He was telling the Green Bay defense what to do basically out there. It was insane. I know it's a preseason game and you can't put a lot of weight into it, but my God, when it comes to Josh Allen as a leader on the football field, he is now getting up there with top in the NFL as a leader on the football field. Few people can do what he does in terms of when I'm on the field, I'm in control. I don't care who else is on the field, on what team you are. When I'm on this field, I'm in control. And it was just a dominant performance all the way around. And I can't wait for the regular season to start.
Yeah. You can tell Josh Allen just loves playing football. He's having fun out there. He wants to go for it on fourth down. He wants to stay in the game. It's just, personally, I don't know why he played as long as he did. After the first drive, I'm like, okay, he looks good. Let's get him out of there. I'm ready.
Yeah.
He played quite a while and, getting everybody involved too. You like to see that. I mean, everyone got a catch, it seemed like. Even Emmanuel Sanders, even though he had a couple of problems with the drops and things. But it's definitely going from Drew Brees to Josh Allen is an adjustment.
For
100%.
sure. For sure.
And I'm excited for week 1. I just hope this momentum can carry over now because I think the offense definitely looked great. And their confidence has got to be sky high right now.
So shout out to Randy Hartman. He says, you're not my supervisor, Sterling. You know what? I am not your supervisor, but you are my son. Okay, so just know that, Randy. You are my son. I appreciate you, though. I appreciate you. Yeah. What some of the other takeaways that I had was we're talking about Josh Allen, how he distributed the ball. He hit eight or nine different wide receivers during the course of one half, being 20 of 26. It was efficient. He got Emmanuel Sanders involved. Emmanuel Sanders looked good. Gabe Davis looked really good. I mean, we want to for Gabriel Davis, I want to see more. As he progresses and develops the season, what he looks like at top of routes and how we get separation. But so far, I mean, these guys, like, I don't think I've seen the offense that good.
Where are all those people who said Stephon Diggs made Josh Allen now? Huh? Watch that tape and tell me Stephon Diggs made Josh Allen, because where's Stephon Diggs and all of that? Sitting on the bench. He still hasn't even come on the field yet, and Josh Allen is doing Josh Allen things. So that conversation is now ended too. But when Diggs comes back, you have a player of Diggs' caliber coming back.
I'm pretty sure Green Bay played their twos.
I mean, at this point, the question becomes, what is the ceiling?
Good point.
Right? Yeah. At this point, it becomes, what is the ceiling? What happens when Diggs is back with Allen and they're really playing competitively and they're trying to score points every drive and every play? I mean, it's going to be a clinic. And that is the bigger question I have. Are they going to score 28 points a quarter? Are they just going to have the ball 3 times and a half and score 21 points and then say, all right, that's it. That's all we needed to do, run out the clock? Because I think we only had 3 possessions in that first half, I believe. And Josh Allen put on a clinic through all of them. So I think that's why he ended up playing full first half and not just, a couple of series, but 2 touchdowns in that time. Yeah, he was lighting it up.
This is why Randy is my son, because in the comments, y'all just comment and let him know what I'm talking about. Okay, moving on here. Let's see. Let's get some comments in here. Try says we're going to talk about how he wanted to throw the ball and pump 3 times and then look like the Reids that threw it in the dirt. His IQ is growing too. It's a beautiful sign. He's not forcing throws. Yeah, that's one of the really good things that as far as his quarterback acumen, that's one of the things we don't have to worry about Josh Allen. He's always been really astute when it comes to studying film and getting better and reading the defense and processing what he's seeing. We've seen improvements from year 1 all the way up to year 3. So we hope to see that coming into year 4. So yeah, I mean, I definitely love how he's processing, and the fact that and one of the underrated things about Josh Allen is his release is so quick. You notice that his release is just so quick. It's a beautiful thing. So we're gonna see a lot more of dissecting Josh Allen's game, and I'm sure our guys here at Cover One, Eric Turner, is going to do a film room about Josh Allen and kind of dissect some of the things that he's doing. So stay tuned for that because it's coming. Defensively, I would say reasons for concern. I would say the run defense, particularly up the middle. We knew that the Packers, even their backups, they got their offensive line depth is really good. And I just wanted to see more run stoppability up the middle. I felt like they ran up the middle on us with ease. From a film and schematic standpoint, it wasn't that their run fits were bad. It was just we just didn't make the play. You didn't disengage and seek and tackle. They were just moved around a little bit, mainly in the defensive tackle position. So I hope that's something that they can maybe clean up a little bit. Even and Star Latulilae, I know a lot of people are talking about, oh my God, it's the Star Latulilae. Like I said, he's an average tackle. He's average. And I think we shouldn't expect anything more. He does his 1/11th well, but he's an average tackle. So we need guys like Ed Oliver to continue to develop and continue to step up. We saw Ed make a few good plays on Saturday. So that was really cool to see. And then, what are you guys' thoughts on the defense so far?
Bend but don't break. I feel like it's been more of an audition for the defense. I mean, when Trey White was out there, I had my eyes on him, and he looked electric, right? He's ready. He's ready to go. I think he heard the chatter of, maybe not being as good as he was hyped to be last year. And he looked damn good on the plays he made. And when they tried going his direction, he shut them down. He was kind of all over the field. That was one thing I did have my eyes on. And just in general, it was more like, all right, let's see what we can do in this condition. I agree with you, Sterling, that the run stoppability is a problem. And you and I were star haters 2 years ago when he was on the field. We were like, well, this guy's useless. And then he was gone, and we're like, okay, maybe he had more value. But now he's back, and that is the question. Is it really him? Does he really add the value we think he does? Or is he just as useless when he's out there as the guys who had to fill in and make do last year without him? So I'm still worried. That's my one concern, if you will, about the defense. But it's all about controlling the pace of play. Like I said, it's bend but don't break. It's, whatever you want to call it. The defense knows that the offense, when they get the ball, they're going to score. So the defense is kind of like, let's keep this offense out here as long as we can, but give them as little as we can. You want to take a whole quarter and score 3 points? Great. We're going to be up 14-3 at the half. Right. And I think I'd take that every single game. Right. So they're okay with that. It's not about giving up the yardage or whatever. It's more about, the scoreboard, which it should be. And the player combinations, in the preseason game, you could still see they were trying different things, playing guys different places, even in that game. And again, we didn't have probably who's going to be our 11 starters out there. So we'll see what happens with the defense.
Definitely the preseason. But one thing I have noticed is the defensive line is much more impactful. that
For sure.
rotation.
Oh, yes.
They're energized. Jerry
Pressure.
Hughes is flying
Wow.
around,
Yeah.
and that's going to help the secondary.
Mhm,
I think, once we get to the season, I mean, this defense got off to a really slow start last year. I don't think you'll see a repeat of that. I think they'll be improved earlier, going into the season, just because, I mean, a lot more rotation. You got a lot more talent on the defensive line. Tremaine Edmonds in a contract year, right? That matters. And then, the same, it's the same secondary, right? So continuity all the way.
So John says, John DeMarchi, thank you for your super chat here. He says, Josh Allen stays upright. Bills could win it all. My fear, offensive guards struggle in pass protection. Right guard, Botker got Josh lit up on the touchdown to Moss, and right guard, Ford struggles too. Mongo is okay at best in pass protection. So let me talk about that real quick. I would say, I mean, I could see where you're going with in terms of that kind of being a point of fear for you on offense. I mean, I think with Cody Ford, I get to look at it this way. Cody Ford, I think he's still a developmental guy, and I think you have to be happy about the progress that he's made from last year to this year. You could see markedly a different player. He looks more zoned in. And he's playing quicker. He's playing a lot quicker, which to me says a lot. His footwork. You can tell he's been working on his footwork and stuff like that. So I don't think they're by any means solid or content at guard. There's always room to improve, but I do like what I've seen from the guard so far. John Feliciano, the slimmer version of John Feliciano, he looks good. These guys look really good, and I think pass protection is what they're actually good at as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the run blocking that they struggle with. But you do make a good point. Feliciano, and then you got Cody Ford. I think they're better in run protection, right? So they definitely need to improve in the pass protection. But I'm okay with the offensive line. I can sleep. Because that you have a quarterback who's big, who can scramble, and also knows where his reads are. He knows where his first read is. He can go through all his reads and get the ball out and distribute it quickly. So I'm okay with that. Do we want to see improvement? Absolutely. And to your point about the Bills making it to the Super Bowl, I don't think it's out of the question. I mean, I really do think that this is a team that could and should play in a Super Bowl. I mean, yes. I think you can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, that's just you got to beat the man to beat a man. Who says that? Wrestling? Who?
Ric
in the
Flair.
comments?
Woo!
Ric Flair, baby.
You gotta beat the. No, it's to be the man. You gotta beat the man. Woo! Ric Flair,
I think the thing that you guys should look at as we go into this season is if you're looking for one word to describe the Bills' offensive line, is athleticism. I think we're going to see them. I think you're going to see the screen game come alive. I think you're going to see these guys be able to get to the second level, get in space, and block defenders at the second level. So I think that's one of the things that I think we struggled with last year that we're going to see an improvement on this year. Mitch Morris is one of those guys that is really agile. He's really good again to the second level. Cody Ford shows some really improvement as far as his run blocking and pulling, this preseason. So I see the fear, but let's temper it just a little bit. Let's get into some real action and see kind of where they go from here. Let's see. We got some more comments in here.
And just to build on that, the offensive line chemistry should build as the season goes on. Yes, they've had the preseason now to work, which is great. But by like week 5-ish, 4, 5, 6, you're going to really know what this offensive line is. And if there is an issue there, we'll know it and they'll have to address it at that point. Either it means benching, changing, something else, trading for somebody, whatever it may be. That'll stand out later as we get into the season. Unfortunately for us, that's right when we run into the buzzsaw of playing Kansas City and Tennessee back-to-back, and that could cause some issues if there are problems on the O-line. I don't anticipate that, but again, that's what you expect with an offensive line.
All right, so we are today they put out the final 53-man roster. it's set. You know,
let's go.
We're going to see some moves throughout the week where they make some kind of sneaky adjustments or whatever. But initial reaction, Eric, will start with you. Anthony will go with you. When you saw the 53-man roster, were you happy about it? Were you pleased with it? Were there some things that you wanted to change?
Tanner Gentry got cut.
Yeah.
He didn't
going to the practice squad though. Yeah. More surprising, I think, was the first thing that comes to mind is Jacob Hollister and that whole situation. But we all know it's a little strategy behind that, right? It's what it looks like from the outside looking in. That, hey, stand over here for a second, and then we'll call you tomorrow, right? Because they want to maneuver some people to the IR. Once those spots open up, you bring them back. But still a little risky, you know, cutting Jacob Hollister and putting it out there for everybody else to grab up. The one thing I did notice, a couple late round picks that made the roster this year, and I don't think we saw that as much last year. K Stevenson, you know, late round pick guy makes the roster.
Wait. Say it again. I just need to hear it.
Marquez Stevenson makes the roster.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And hang on.
You like you're high on him now? Is that
yeah.
Oh, wait. Are you for real?
What do you mean?
What were you getting?
Have I not been talking about him making the roster all off season? That he had a really good shot to have I not been pumping him?
Right.
But that's been the expectation.
Put some respect on my name. That's all I'm saying.
That's not you. That's been the expectation from
everybody.
No, it
was not. You're full of shit.
What are you
That's not
talking
been
about?
the expectation.
What are you
I'm talking about before preseason. Before preseason started.
Most of us had him making the roster as a return
You're all
guy.
full of shit. Eric, go ahead. You're full of shit.
Cutting the guy we drafted.
Well, I mean, kick returner is open, so I could see that aspect of it. Will he get a lot of wide receiver reps? Probably not.
No.
But, Tommy Doyle, I think he was an option to go to the practice squad, but he makes the roster. Definitely a rotational player, could play right tackle or left tackle. Demar Hamlin, I think he was kind of a long shot to make it, but with Dean Marlowe out, that role is wide open. Another late round guy that makes the roster. I mean, there's just a lot more of those type of guys, it seems like this year, than there has been, in years past.
Oh, hold on. One more thing must be said. Groot. Man, what a revelation. I'm speechless. Like, Groot has really been amazing. It's been really cool to see him play defensive end. I mean, I'll let you guys kind of take this one, but Anthony, what are your thoughts on old Groot over here?
I mean, all offseason he's looked great, but we knew he was going to make the team.
But I think he's talking about his impact.
53, of course, yeah. I mean, that's one of the biggest exciting players now for the Bills to watch this year. And I don't think that was the case after draft night or draft week or draft month or after OTAs. It was preseason. This guy put himself on the map, and now everybody is watching him, which is a great thing for him. My guy, F.A. Obata, made the roster for the same reason. He had a great spring. He had a great training camp. He had his whole tenure with the Bills since he's come on. They've said that he is the guy to watch, and they've really loved him, and he's flashed. And I'm glad he made the team. Force him out for Bobby Hart.
Yeah.
2 weeks late on that cut too, right? The one that did surprise me, however.
Hold on. Listen, bro. Did he just really say pour some out for my boy Bobby Hart? That's awesome. Bobby Hart was awful. He was awful. And I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did. Pour some out for Bobby Hart. I'm gonna my maker's mark here, and to Randy Hartman.
Don't do the maker's mark.
On my whisk. Hey,
what are we gonna do when they sign him to the practice squad? Like, oh my god, what a waste! No,
I hope they can't do that. They can't do that.
I don't know what the deal with Bobby Hart is. Like, has he ever played left tackle before?
Has he ever played offensive line before?
I know, right?
That's a better question.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he was bad.
Playing in Cincinnati, you might as well just be a college player at that point.
I'm telling you.
That offensive line was bad the past few years.
They got some guys out here at Bishop Sycamore that would love to help out play offensive line.
Getting back to the 53 and the cuts today, the one that actually made me laugh out loud was Reid Ferguson. Because I'm like, what? They must have, unless this is some kind of he's seriously injured and is not going to be able to play. Clearly this was, hey, Reid, we need to keep somebody else on the practice squad. You mind if we cut you and then, re-sign you after injury designations?
Well, we know Epinesa didn't beat him out.
He's not going anywhere. Exactly, right? Woo. Now you appreciate Reid Ferguson because you don't notice him out there on those snaps, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's obviously going to be on the roster. Fully expect that. So getting back to the tight end position too. So obviously Reid Ferguson, we expect to be on the roster after these injury designations are made. We just don't know how many guys are being injury designated. That makes sense. The one guy to me that I was surprised about was Tommy Sweeney, right? Tommy Sweeney made the roster. And is he going to be some kind of injury designee as well to then sign Jacob Hollister, who I think is the next guy up in terms of, we cut you, but you're really going to be on this team and have the impact we expected you to have. So those were two of the positions. I mean, Reid Ferguson, I was like, oh my God, what did they want him to be able to put on his resume? He got cut and then re-signed,
Well, didn't they do that with, I'm pretty sure they did that with Reid last year as well. They cut him and then had to bring him back.
I don't think so.
Did they not do that last year?
Maybe he's IR or something.
But they're still, I mean,
he's an easy guy to move around, right?
Right. I almost think that long snapper should be one of those roster spot that shouldn't be counted against the 53. That's just my opinion. I think that should be like a grandfathered in position. Maybe if they put like a snap count on it, like if you've had over 200 or 300 snaps of your career, it could count not as a roster spot on your team. I don't know, that's just my idea. I was thinking about that on the way home today. I was
a lot of teams don't have one, right?
Yeah,
Bills are one of the few teams that have carried one, continuously.
Yeah. Speaking of carrying or positional labels too, Reggie Gilliam, my guy from last year, gotta love him. Glad he's on the roster again. It'll be interesting to see if they label him a fullback this year, since last year he was a tight end. But man, he flashed in the preseason this year as well and basically said, you kept me last year for a reason, and I'm getting better at my position. So you have to keep me again. And I'm happy for him as a kid. I would love to see him out there touching the ball more in special situations. He did have that one touchdown at the beginning of the season last year, which was awesome to see. Relying on that guy. I love him. And I'm glad he made the roster. But that tight end position, the wide receiver position that was highly debated, we already talked about Stevenson and obviously Jay Kumro, right? He's on the roster. That was expected after the preseason he had.
What do you think the plan is with Stevenson? Is he going to take over the kick return role?
Isaiah McKenzie's probably
going to see another fumble from McKenzie. So,
well, he's going to be on the IR probably for 3 to 4 weeks, right? So that's why it allowed us to keep Stevenson on the roster without even thinking about it, right? Because he's going to go to IR, and that's why you cut, Reid Ferguson, because that roster spot is kept, but you're going to be able to re-sign him when all that is said and done. It's not like he's gone forever. Were you going to say something on that?
No, go ahead.
I think the big thing for me that I think is the theme of this is Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott did a great job of weighing their options. They really hyped up Jake Fromm, and Jake Fromm had a good preseason even, right? And they were really saying, like, we like this guy and what he's showing us. So I really think they had a hard time sitting in that room and saying, look, we have Jake Fromm, who we like as a potential number 2 backup, but Josh Allen's our guy, or we have 10 defensive linemen that we absolutely love and really want to keep and love their talent. So guess what, Jake Fromm, we're going to have to let you go, even though we did think highly of you. And they really went through, I think, that list. Cornerback was another one that kind of surprised me because they cut all them guys, basically, right? They didn't, there was the debate of like Cam Lewis and Shaq Griffin and like all these guys. And sure enough, they made those cuts and said, we're happy with the guys we kept, pretty much.
And they are going with 11 defensive linemen. I know we did this scenario a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. That's the highest. Last year they kept 10, but 11 is definitely the highest since McDermott took over.
And
it shows you they like all these guys. Plus, there's an investment there with drafting two, edge players early. That's just
probably an injury designation coming there as well. Mm-hmm. If Phillips is still hurt, we don't know what the situation is. No update, at least that I've seen. I don't know about you guys, but expecting, probably one or more of them to go on the injured list as well to open up a spot for maybe another cornerback. Who knows?
So, as far as the roster goes, it was I had them keeping 10 defensive linemen. I didn't know that they would just go out and just keep 11. And we see Bam Johnson being moved. I know there was a lot of chatter on Twitter about whether or not was it justified. I think, yeah, in a sense. I mean, obviously, it's going to be hard to replace what he brings from a special team standpoint. But when you look at F.A. Obata, I mean, because that's who he really got beat out by. F.A. Obata offers you more from a down-to-down, perspective rather than just a special teams guy. And you have, they ended up keeping Tywan Jones and Saran Neal and some of these guys who are really good on special teams, Tyler Matakovich. So he was expendable that way. And you get a 6th-round pick. When you drafted him as a 7th-round pick, you get a 6 in return. That's improvement. So you hate to see a guy like Bam go just from his size and athleticism standpoint. However, in his limited role, I guess they felt like they got more out of F.A. Obata. And it's true. F.A. Obata, I mean, he had 5.5 sacks last year. If he was on the Bills, that would have led the team.
Bam Johnson was never going to get the snaps that like an F.A. Obata was at defensive line. On special teams, he's a beast. We know that. And you got to remember, he's a 7th-round draft pick, this guy. And what I like about this trade is he went back to North Carolina. That's where he's from. That's where he was drafted. Small school out there, and made this team and showed that he could play in the NFL. And hopefully he's going to get a bigger opportunity now with Carolina than he did on defensive line, at least with the Bills, because he's shown he can play at this level and he's worth something. Teams were willing to give something up for him.
Yeah. And he got a pick for a special teams player. I mean, that's a win in my book. Good. I mean, they recognized
drafted him in
value.
the 7th. You got a 6th. That's a win, right?
Yeah. Sent him back. He's actually from North Carolina, right? He went to college there at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Brandon Beane's guy. You hate to see it happen, but with this talent level, the ceiling is just higher for guys like Obata. Obviously, the 2 early draft picks. You just got to have those spots for the future, what these guys can develop into. And Bam Johnson had his chances. He was growing. I thought he got a little better every year. He carved out a nice role for himself, and hopefully he can continue to grow in the next team.
Yeah, I think he's, we're going to see. I mean, I know that, Carolina likes their guys that are, lengthy and, they like those kind of edge rushers. So let's see what I'm going to keep an eye out on them this year and see what happens.
Just coming through.
North Carolina A&T.
Yep, A&T.
Yes.
I had a few friends who were teaching there when he was drafted, and I'm like, oh my God, he drafted to the Bills. I was at UNC at the time. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes. So let's see. We kind of touched on the wide receiver room. Tight end, Knox and Sweeney are your starting tight ends. Now you got to look at Reggie. First of all, so like I put out a tweet earlier, and I was like, okay, so you release Hollister. Are you going to break the Zach Ertz news? Just mess with everybody.
It's happening
right?
soon. It's happening soon.
Who knows right now?
Who knows at this point? But the Bills felt like they had something going with Sweeney and Knox. I always felt like Sweeney. I do like he has really good hands. Now his blocking is not very good at all. I think he definitely needs to prove his blocking. But I don't know if this tight end position, if this is what we're going to walk into week 1 with. I for some reason, and I could be wrong, but I just have a hunch that the Bills are going to eventually get Zach Ertz. It's just gonna happen. If it's not this season, it's next year. We could totally see a Zach Ertz thing. And if you're the Eagles, why are you holding on to it? Why are you holding on to him? You obviously there's no future. He doesn't want to be there. There's no future there for him. I mean, you've kind of scrapped and you're kind of going with all these young guys. Why don't you just trade him? You're not going to get more than a third. You're probably a 5th is probably a little high, to be honest, for a 30-year-old tight end. That's kind of mid-tier tight end. So look, quit being dumb. Just trade the guy. The Bills could totally use him. I'm a little worried though. I felt like if I had to choose between Hollister and Sweeney, I'm taking Hollister. I feel like Hollister's the better tight end. He gives the Bills a better in terms of athleticism. I think time with Josh Allen. I think that matters too. So I felt like I was a little like, why did you let go of Jacob Hollister? Eric, what do you got?
Yeah, I would say the order will be week 1, in my opinion. Dawson Knox, Jacob Hollister, and Tommy Sweeney. I think they'll bring Hollister back, somehow, some way. And then Quentin Morris, don't forget about him. Bowling Green he's going to be on the practice squad. according to the Buffalo News. Trying to bring him back.
Who?
Didn't see a lot of him. Quentin Morris out of Bowling Green.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He
flashed a little bit. I didn't see a lot of him. Didn't really pay attention to him, but he's going to the practice squad. So there's options there as well. Tommy Sweeney, he has the heart condition, correct? If he has issues, maybe we see Quentin Morris step in that role.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's that room. If this is what we're rolling out with, okay. I mean, you do have Reggie Gilliam that can fill in a tight end position. Right. But again, what are you getting? Like, I think we know what Gilliam's ceiling is as far as being a tight end fullback hybrid. All right, Sweeney, we I don't know if we've seen enough just because he didn't play last year, and then he was limited, the year before. So it's I don't know, but I felt like Hollister was a better option there. As far as offensive linemen go, we did see Tommy Doyle make the squad. Tommy Doyle, 5th round pick. You're not just going to let him go. Right. A team is they will poach him off the practice squad. Now, I think Tommy Doyle is a guy that you're going to see inactive week after week. You want to hope that he gets better, matures, and as a blocker in general, both run and in the pass. He did have some good reps against Chicago that I was impressed with.
What's interesting about him, though, is he can play right tackle. With Bobby Hart going out, there's really Spencer Brown and Tommy Doyle, your backup right tackles.
Yeah,
right. We saw Ryan Bates make the roster. We kind of assumed, right? He's a guy that can kind of do it all. They love
play
Ryan
all the
Bates.
Positions, right? Yeah, they love him.
Right. And then as far as the defensive line, and we'll just hit this real quick. Vernon Butler survives again.
That's the one we all had.
Why?
Him cut, right? We all wanted him cut, and he's still there. The only thing, the conversation when we did it on the show, Eric made the point that if we cut Vernon Butler, we'd be very short on the tackle position. So, I mean, but we also made the point that these guys are interchangeable. There's D-line. That's really what we have.
Well, I think he has a role. His role is goal line. It's, field goal block, punt block. I mean, Vernon Butler is there. Not Vernon Davis. But he's in those packages. And I think, if you can get away with keeping him, why not keep him to fill that role? Because it's going to be hard to replace that.
Right.
You're already paying him.
That was the big thing. Is
you can find a way to get 11, keep 11, then do it. And it looks like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and maybe because of Phillips being injured, right? Maybe
he did have something like 450 snaps last year. It's 3rd on the team behind Ed Oliver and Quentin Jefferson. So I mean that's a big role that he does.
Butler flashed. Anybody know? I did not pay attention to Butler, but I always feel like he's one of those players that I never see him on the field. I don't even know he's there making a play or not or whatever.
He was a first round pick and that hasn't played up to his potential. I mean, he should flash against third stringers. Next, Andre Smith. Andre Smith makes the squad. This guy as a linebacker. I mean, he's a 23-year-old linebacker. He's young.
I love him.
They love. One of the things we talked about last week was his play speed. He looks really good as a depth linebacker. So
that's how good Brandon Beane is, because the Bills traded a 7th-round pick for Kelvin Benjamin, and with that 7th-round pick, the Panthers drafted Andre Smith. Somehow he ends up on the Bills as a starter. I mean, that's Brandon Beane right there?
Yeah. And he's
not
a guy
a starter, but he makes the roster.
Right.
It was clear from the start of training camp that Andre Smith and Tyler Matakovich were getting run at linebacker, that they basically said, hey, we need you to be able to come in and play linebacker if it comes down to it. And they both played pretty well. So it was like, damn, these guys can go in there and play. And it boosted the confidence to really get them on there. And obviously with both of those guys, they're special teams contributors, which again allows you to maybe lose a Bam Johnson in order to keep guys who fill that depth need, can play at linebacker when needed, but also have a huge special teams role.
John DeMarchi again says, one more comment. I stand for group pre-drafting now, but my other guy who made the team is criminally underrated is Justin Zimmer.
Yes.
Yeah, I think considered him a lock.
Yeah,
all 3 of us here were really high on Justin Zimmer, and just going back and so like in the off season, I like to rewatch I like to watch the all 22 throughout the summer. And when we had our defensive line show, I highlighted that Justin Zimmer was probably the most consistent defensive lineman the Bills had at his position, defensive tackle last year. He played, I think he was in like maybe 300 some odd snaps. And he looked pretty good. I mean, I think Justin Zimmer's probably as good as he's going to be. He may improve just a little bit, but I will take him as a depth defensive tackle. And the fact that he makes a team, and I think he probably has the highest motor of any defensive tackle that we have. I mean, you see the guy all over the place. I mean, his motor just doesn't stop. And, guys like that really appeal to Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, those guys that just don't quit. So, to your point, Justin Zimmer, we are happy that Justin Zimmer made the team, and we expect big things. Justin Zimmer did make plays last year in games, and that matters. That really does matter.
Attitude. I mean, he's 100% process. I mean, just his attitude, approach. Like, what? You need me to do this? I'll do it. You need me to go here? I'll do it. You want me in the practice squad? I'll do it. And then I'll come show you that I can do it on the real roster. And there he stayed. Yeah, what a guy for this roster. For this,
it helps that he's a Bills legend. Winning the game for us. That one.
He says cover
Cam Newton.
Yeah, Cover One loves Zimmer. Yeah, we really high on Justin Zimmer. No one else saw it. Bravo to you all. And honestly, that's because we at Cover One, the first thing above anything, we try to give you analysis that's not biased, but we try to be honest about what we watch on film. When you have guys like Eric Turner, Anthony Prohaska, those guys really know how to churn out film and kind of point out things, that tendencies from other teams and tendencies from players, that we should look at. So that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on. So Justin Zimmer is just a product. I mean, nothing that we did. It's just the guy he could play football, and the Bills, talent, recognize that, and he's on the 53. So good. Hey, kudos to Justin Zimmer. I want to see. We were talking about defensive tackles improving. I want to see more from Harrison Phillips. Harrison Phillips looked good this preseason. I really thought he was going to get cut. But before the preseason, I think he was going to make it. But during games, he's played really well. I think he kind of changed his physique. He looks like bulkier and stronger at the point of attack. I think that's played well. Now, unfortunately, he's hurt again. We hope that he gets healthy and can contribute. But Harrison Phillips was looking pretty good this year.
He's got way too many endorsement deals that last the next few years to get cut.
Right. He'll stick in Buffalo if he's a lock. Get cut.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys is Davis Webb or Jake Fromm?
Ooh.
Who comes back?
I think it's got to be Webb. Webb is probably the more desirable, especially in that role as a practice squad guy. I mean, we've heard I think it was Matt Perino, right, who wrote that awesome article about all the stuff that Davis Webb does for the team. And he's basically a coach as well as a quarterback. So I would prefer to keep Webb. And we already talked about the fact that they were really hyped on Fromm, and that if another team, there were a lot of teams that I saw scrolling through the news today that cut their quarterbacks and that are looking for a viable backup quarterback. And I think Jake Fromm will land somewhere and get one of those jobs, and that means
do you think
hopefully we keep Webb.
Sterling, what do you think?
Yeah,
I think you keep Fromm. I think in terms of what I'm not poo-pooing Davis Webb, but I don't think Josh Allen needs any more teachers. I do appreciate the fact that Davis Webb is like a coach in the room.
It's work, yeah.
Right. But the Bills had him because, they were like, oh, yeah, he's a great teacher and communicator in the quarterback room and so forth. And I think Josh kind of elevated and graduated to the point where I think, the guys that he has in the room, I think he's okay. I think Mitchell Trubisky in this year will provide dividends for him. We thought the same with Matt Barkley last year, who was our backup quarterback. So I think Fromm, just because in the sense that he's an asset that you can trade. If you roster him,
you don't think somebody's going to pick him up though?
I'm not very high on
with
Fromm.
all the quarterbacks.
He's not a starter. He's a questionable backup. I mean, I just don't think he has the athletic tools that's needed to play in this league.
I think with all the quarterback decisions that were made today by teams, there's a lot of needs out there, and I think Fromm's going to end up being higher on the list of people to get called.
And Fromm's a really popular guy, right? Starter, long-term starter at Georgia, right? A lot of the coaches in the NFL are from the South. I mean, it's Division I. They're in the race every single year. I would keep Davis Webb personally because when you get to playoff time, it's a team effort to try to come up with a solid game plan to get creative.
Mm-hmm.
And, guys who've been in the league longer, help more with that. I mean, I get it's Fromm's second year, but last year he didn't even really play with the team. He's like always away from the team at all times, right? He wasn't even in the room, right? According to Brandon Beane in the broadcast. But, in this situation, I would get Davis Webb back in the building somehow, some way. Maybe it's as a coach.
Yeah. I mean, if he's willing to stop his playing career, I think there's coaching job clearly lined up for him.
Players get paid more though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, definitely. But it's safer to be a coach. I mean, I don't know. I guess he's more of a practice squad bench player, but still, you never know with playing in the NFL. It's still pretty serious.
Let's talk about Rashad Wildgoose.
That was going to be my question now. I definitely think this position, specifically cornerback, right now on the roster, Dre White, Levi Wallace, Taron Johnson, Dane Jackson, Cyron Neal. This is crazy to me. 5 cornerbacks, and all of them have playing time. Like, these are not like, you don't have a reserve cornerback. And Cyron Neal, obviously, cornerback, safety, whatever you want to call him. But those guys are all started players, like significant playing time. And I definitely think that one of those cornerbacks we cut today, it has to be one of the players returning to the active roster when the injury designations are made. So that begs the question, which one is it? Elijah Griffin, who, came in with all the hype. Is it Wildgoose, who was drafted? They did spend a draft pick on him. Is it Cam Lewis, who has experience on this team and we know what he is? I mean, I don't know which one, or maybe they're scouring the cuts today saying, you know what, we need an upgrade at our bench cornerback position, because right now, again, that's what concerns me. There's no bench cornerback at this point, and I need some depth, something tangible there to make me a little more comfortable. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think I was surprised to see Rashad Wildgoose cut. I thought he was the only guy in the room outside of Trey White that offers you athletic in terms of being able to run with guys, namely in Kansas City. And he's kind of a long, rangy kind of guy. He's shown that he can track the ball. And he made some plays during the preseason, so I was surprised to see him being cut. I mean, they did spend a late round draft pick on him, so I'm not hung up over that. Hopefully he makes to the practice squad. But because I think that McDermott, any talent that he has in him, I think McDermott can get the most out of him. That's just McDermott's thing in the cornerback room. So that was probably the most outside of Jacob Hollister. I would say Rashad Wildgoose. I had him as a lock. I had the Bills going with 6 cornerbacks, but they only went with 5. They only went with 5 last year as well. So I thought that was going to change this year. We haven't seen enough of Dane Jackson. He hasn't played well, and you hear Leslie Frazier talk about how him and, Levi Wallace are neck and neck. I think Levi Wallace outright won the cornerback 2 position this year. Now maybe Dane Jackson is one of those gamers, right? One of those guys that when he gets in the game, he plays better. That is a thing in the NFL. There are some guys like that. But I would love to see Rashad Wildgoose back on the roster at some point this season. I hope that he can get to the practice squad because I really like his upside and what he can bring to the room. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing for me is going to be which players. Now the Bills are the team that players want to stay on, right? We talked about this in the offseason as well. So some of these guys might get an offer. Hey, you can Wildgoose. We like what we saw. You can come be our bench player. You're not going to be a starter, obviously, but you can be our 5th or 6th cornerback. We like you on an active roster. And he might say, you know what? I really love this room and these guys and the way this coaching staff is teaching me and bringing me up. I'm going to stick around and be on the practice squad rather than take that opportunity. And it'll be interesting to see with all of these guys who were cut today, which ones do say, I'm sticking around because I want to be in Buffalo and make it happen versus go to maybe get an opportunity elsewhere. So we'll see with him. It'll be interesting. I don't know if Wildgoose is the one that they sign. I think they're more likely to find a cornerback from the market of players that were cut today to be that sixth cornerback.
That's what I was going to say. Josh Norman's probably on the couch somewhere, right? If someone goes down, you can always tell somebody up. But
I'm good on Josh Norman. I'm good.
I think Wild Goose makes the practice squad, in my opinion, just because they did invest a pick on him. Cam Lewis has been around for a while. He's been in the practice squad before, right? So I think he could. He's also an option as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Desmond Trufant got released today as well.
Oh, really? So he's available. I like the way they set it up, though. They went safety heavy, it seems like. Josh Thomas is going to be on the practice squad as well. Demar Hamlin, Jaquan Johnson. Demar Hamlin played a lot of nickel corner in college. Yeah, don't know if that always transfers to the NFL, but that is it's valuable experience. He's moved around a lot, and he battled injuries. So I think he's got a high ceiling. So I do like that they went with the safeties there. Somebody's got to fill that Dean Marlowe role as well. So and I know because of the COVID rules, they're able to take 16 players on the practice squad again this year.
Right.
That's basically whoever you want, right? That's a lot.
And veterans, right? Normally, practice squad, if you're not eligible, if you're whatever it is, I think it's 4 or 5 years of service. But yeah, so that'll be good.
Can we talk about Hodgins getting cut?
Oh yeah, that was a big one.
And Kumaro making the squad. That was probably a battle. Those guys are similar in stature, right? They're both tall guys, big guys. Use their body to catch the football. And Jake Kumaro wins the job. Is Hodgins done in Buffalo?
I think Hodgins is the new Duke Williams here. He's the developmental guy. They're going to continue to give him chances. I think they're going to bring him back on the practice squad. I think he has skill. It just came down to he looked good in the offseason. It just came down when he put pads on. He can't separate, and I think that's the thing. When you got physical with him, he just doesn't. He doesn't have a counter to physical contact. So Kumaro is a guy that I think gives you more from an athletic standpoint. Yeah. And he has real NFL game experience, whereas Isaiah Hodgins does not. And I think that matters. And on the fact that Kumaro will play special teams, where Isaiah Hodgins doesn't.
That's a big thing. They do like that contribution. And
Kumaro gives you something that they haven't had. Right, he's the big body. They didn't have Hodgins on the roster last year, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. How they use him.
Talk about the hype train here. The coaches are not stupid. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane do not make stupid decisions. Other coaches might have said, "We drafted Isaiah Hodgins. We need to keep him on the roster." But the fact of the matter is, he got outplayed. Jake Kumaro was that much better. So it's just Kumaro had to be on the active roster this time. I'm sorry, you were good, but not good enough. We'll keep you on the practice squad if you end up there. If you get an opportunity with another team, we're willing to let you go at this point, because last year he had the injury designation and, wasn't able to play at all during the season. So we don't really know what he is. But as Sterling said, there's the issues of separation. He just got outplayed. And in the end, when you're looking at it, you got to have the best 53 on the roster. And that means Hodgins gets cut.
Right. And Kumaro, NFL pedigree, right? His dad played for the Dolphins. That helps, right? Access to, training and
I think those things matter. You're right. And look, I think Isaiah Hodgins is gonna go to the practice squad, and you hope that he has a skill set that you can use. He just has to develop,
Then Tanner Gentry's gonna beat him out there.
Man,
that'd be really bad if that.
Golly. Oh man, you just went there. You just did that. You just did that. Okay, we'll let's stay out for a couple more minutes. So Ed Oliver, does that name that name kind of hangs out there for me because we're right before the season. We have this week, and then the next weekend is the game, and I need to see Ed Oliver take that next step. This is a guy, the 9th overall pick. And I worry about it. I really do. I know he's good. I want him to be great. That's just the expectation I'm sure he puts on himself to be great. I want to see him succeed. I'm nervous for him this year.
I think the issue is the standard is almost Aaron Donald now, right? A defensive tackle who can be disruptive. Well, I mean, it's kind of a new thing. Like defensive tackles aren't that disruptive, right? But
that's the ceiling.
Right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. That's the
and the next guy is significantly right. Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of a new thing in the NFL is defensive tackles being able to disrupt plays consistently, right?
Well, that's what they
most
thought
of the time.
They're
gap fillers, right? Stop the run, right?
We drafted Ed Oliver to be that guy.
But the expectations are high for him for that reason because he was so talked about during the draft. Ed Oliver's been playing great. He had Star Latulele out last season. I don't know what kind of impact that's going to have on his game. I hope that Star comes back and draws some attention on the defensive line, so at least Ed can maybe get a one-on-one once in a while.
That's what I was going to say about Ed. It's going to be hard to see in the beginning of the season. Is he not making noise in the stat sheet because the offensive line is paying attention to him, allowing Greg Rousseau and Jerry Hughes or whoever else to get around the edge at the quarterback because they're focusing more in the middle at Ed Oliver? Or is it because, he's just not living up to the hype? I mean, how many top 10 draft picks are on this Buffalo Bills roster? 2, right? And one of them is Josh Allen. So when you're the other guy, you have to live up to those expectations. I think what Sterling said was on point. He's good, but he hasn't been great. And you can make an argument that on this Buffalo Bills roster, there is no player that has more on the line this year than Ed Oliver. You have got to prove that you are a top 10 guy and that you can live up to what the Bills thought you were going to be and not just, hey, he's good enough to get paid at the position, but, not be the top 10.
Yeah, and I
play
think,
disruptor. Play disruptor is what we thought we were getting, and he has to be that.
Yeah, and I think you guys make a great point that Aaron Donald is not the standard because nobody's going to compete when it comes to that. But
everybody wants an Aaron Donald now.
Everybody, and I think that's where the fans mess up because you see Aaron Donald and you go, well, why isn't my guy like this? And then that's not Ed Oliver. And I don't care that, people mention, well, he's undersized. I don't think that's really a factor to me. When you look at Ed Oliver's burst and first step off the snap, I mean, the guy, he's a dog. And I just hope that, he kind of learns a few more pass rush moves, maybe kind of his angles to the quarterback. He kind of learns. I think he needs to learn the process of the game, right? Not rely on athleticism, but like it's what's in here, I think once he learns to do that more often, I think we should start to see more flash plays, plays where he's being disruptive. So typically year 3 is when defensive tackles start to pop. You can go back and you can look at Geno Atkins and some of these other guys that popped in year 3. So this is year 3 for Ed. So I really want him to succeed. I mean, if you get a really good Ed Oliver in the fold, man, this defense, it's going to take the defense to another level. And you see, we see the amount of pressure that the Bills defensive line was able to apply and pressure quarterbacks this offseason. So far this preseason, they've had one of the highest pressure rates of any team in the NFL just with the defensive linemen. So that's the mantra of Sean McDermott's defense. If you can rush 4 effectively, then you could drop everybody else, right? You could drop everybody else in coverage, and that's where the disguise and the manipulation comes in. So we really need these defensive linemen to play at their best. And I think Ed Oliver is a key factor into the Bills defense taking that next level. So, Groot, right, bash him, okay, great. But if Ed Oliver takes that next step, I'm telling you, it's going to unlock the potential of this defense. So I'm really excited to see how that looks moving forward. So any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
It's game time. These are the guys, man. It's game time. I'm ready. And this is a weird thing because this is, I think, the earliest the NFL has ever had the 53-man cutdown. We got a whole nother week of practices and everything before the season starts, and that's from Sunday. So a week plus 2 weeks, basically, almost full, with the 53 in place and things ready to go. So it's a longer wait, but man, am I ready. Now it's just a matter of let's go. Let's get on the field. Let's stay healthy. Let's make it happen.
And we are definitely rolling with Feliciano and Cody Ford. I know we talked about that a ton in the offseason, that would they win the starting job? Would they get competition? Yeah, they're both going to be starters, it looks like to me.
Yeah, they're both going to be Ford at right guard and Feliciano at left guard. So I want to see what they look like. Pittsburgh Steelers week 1. That's going to be so much fun. Anthony's going to be at the game.
Going to the game.
I'm gonna be at the game. So, and if any of you guys out there want to link up while I'm in Buffalo, by all means, reach out to me on Twitter. I would love to meet some of you guys, talk to you, go have a beer, go have some wings, show me around Buffalo.
Apartments. Anybody knows any good apartments for Sterling?
I am not moving to Buffalo. If I had it like that, I would totally buy a house up there just for the off season, or for you just to be there for Bills games. Outside of that, I love Denver. I love Denver. So
I ain't until you look at the taxes.
Yeah. Like I said, if I had it like that, and I don't got it like that. So, but anyways, fellas, it was a pleasure. Make sure that you guys follow and subscribe to the Hoof Podcast. Follow, and subscribe to Cover One Network. We're going to be giving it to you all season long. Stay tuned with the Hoof. We're going to be giving you guys chances to win jerseys every month of the regular season. So that information is going to come out next week, how to do that, how to enter your name into the drawing. But we're going to be locked and loaded here. This is the Cover One Network, the Hoof Podcast, and we're out of here.
Go Bills.
Peace.